I gave birth to my son and transitioned 10 years later.
My mom became my dad. When I was younger, I called him my mom. I started calling him my dad when I was probably in middle school. He's always there for me whenever I need something. When he went through his process, I was 11 years old.
How did your dad first broach the topic of transitioning with you?
He asked me how I'd feel about it, and I said, if you want to be my dad, you can be my dad because you already dress like a boy anyways. And don't let anyone bring you down. Just do what you want to do.
We went through counseling for 5.5 years, and I think it's very important for a lot of trans people in general to put the children in counseling, to get them more understanding of what they're getting themselves into, because not everybody is going to accept you right away. It was best for him to give me the opportunity to have a choice, or him have a choice, and together we both made one, and his choice was first, and then I accepted it. I gave birth to my son and transitioned 10 years later.
My mom became my dad. When I was younger, I called him my mom. I started calling him my dad when I was probably in middle school. He's always there for me whenever I need something. When he went through his process, I was 11 years old.
How did your dad first broach the topic of transitioning with you?
He asked me how I'd feel about it, and I said, if you want to be my dad, you can be my dad because you already dress like a boy anyways. And don't let anyone bring you down. Just do what you want to do.
We went through counseling for 5.5 years, and I think it's very important for a lot of trans people in general to put the children in counseling, to get them more understanding of what they're getting themselves into, because not everybody is going to accept you right away. It was best for him to give me the opportunity to have a choice, or him have a choice, and together we both made one, and his choice was first, and then I accepted it.
All right, Shalawam, Shalawam. All praises due to YAHAWAH, Ba'ashem YAHAWASHI, Ba'ashem Rakah Kadash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders of the great millstone, the men that told me this truth. And peace and salutation, brakathum to all you sincere Akim out there that's laboring this truth throughout the four corners of the earth. All right, brothers just seen the video, all right, of this woman now turned into a man, and this right here displays the many reasons why the Lord is going to destroy this place, all right? America, a.k.a. Babylon the Great, spiritually Sodom, and Egypt, all right? And, the scriptures mention, right, the Lord have, put a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, man, and now, this woman, this is one of the reasons why the so-called black woman, all right, she is the second, to Esau as far as our enemy, man, all right, and it just that kid, her son, he's gonna right now he probably is dealing with it, but in the long term he's gonna deal with a lot of issues, man, and things that he probably can't express himself to right now, but is fucked up. All right, that's why we call this place, Babylon or Babal in the Hebrew. All right, because this place is a place of confusion. All right, you don't know who's who. All right, whether it's a man or a woman. Okay, and you could blame the so-called white man for that. All right, because the so-called white man, which his name is Esau, Edom in the Bible, all right, he's the deceiver of the planet Earth, all right, and he has deceived these people with these alternative lifestyle into doing these things, all right. The scriptures mention, let's get that first. Matter of fact, in the book of Isaiah, they declare their sins as Sodom. They don't have no shame into the wicked acts that they do here on the earth, right? This is Isaiah chapter 3, verse 9. It says, the show of their countenance do witness against them, and they declare their sin as Sodom. All right. And what was Sodom known for? Sexual debauchery, them filthy Hamites, Okay, they was into orgies, they was into bestiality, pedophilia, all right, being trannies, okay, doing all that wicked stuff that you see here in America, right? Okay, it says they hide it not, right? They don't, they don't hide it. They push it in your face, all right? And we see that through the media, okay, through television, through movies, through TV shows, even your children's cartoons. All right, they push it, they hide it not. It's an agenda going on in Hollywood. All right, you got most of these celebrities, their children, they're basically transformers, man. Look at D Wade and his son. All right, turned daughter, whatever. Okay, and there's plenty others as well that takes parts in that. You know, you got who's that? Angelina Jolie, her kids and shit. Okay, is a lot of that being pushed here in this society, man. Because why? This place is ran by Satan, man. Okay, they hide it not. They push it in your face, you know. And if you say something about it, then it's labeled as a hate crime. Okay, now you got you know, so-called the you know, the happy people. Their parade is next month, right? What's that? June, I believe, is around that time. That's when they're gonna start pushing that even more, man. You know, but it declares, it shows it that this place is Sodom and Gomorrah all over again, man. Okay, because it's the same agenda being pushed in the earth. Okay, and it says, "Woe unto their soul, for they have rewarded evil unto themselves." Right. And the Lord is eventually going to destroy you, man. Because why is a law when you read what's that? No, the book of Leviticus, right? Chapter 20, verse 13, it tells you, you know what I'm saying? You take part in that type of lifestyle, you know, the Lord is going to destroy you. He's going to put you to death for that. Okay? But here in this society, right, it tells you that it's okay. You know, it's okay for two men, two women can get married, adopt children, so on and so forth, man. Be wicked as all hell, man. All right? Not knowing that there's a judgment for that, right? Let's get the book of Romans, the first chapter. Romans chapter 1. And I'm going to start at verse 25, right? It said, who changed the truth of the Most High into a lie, right? It says, who changed it? So it basically is a so-called white man, Esau Edom. As I said, he's the deceiver of the planet Earth. Okay? He's the one that changed the truth of the Most High into a lie. He tells you that, no, it's not about, you know, two men and two women getting married only, but two males and two women can get married as well. All right? That's not written in the scriptures. So that he's basically saying what the Most High did, he got it wrong, you know? So he changed the truth into a lie. It says, and worshiped and served the creature more than the creator, who is blessed forever. Thawab, right? Let's see what it says in the NLT. It says they traded the truth about the Most High for a lie. So they worshiped and served the things the Most High created instead of the Creator himself. Okay, so in a prime example of that, you got these celebrities, all right? They are pushed up as a, you know, basically an idol here in this society. You got people that put them on a pedestal, all right? You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to worship the creature more than the creator. Just like yesterday you had so-called Mother's Day, all right? A lot of you was basically putting your mother on a pedestal. The scriptures do say honor both father and mother, but it's much more than just putting them up as a, you know what I'm saying, like you're worshiping, okay? Because the Lord said he's a jealous power. If you worship your loved ones, your parents, more than the Creator himself, he'll take them away, okay? So, you know, you got that example going on right now in this society, man. Okay, these Hollywood actors and things like that. How you think they got on, man? By basically getting down with their agenda. Okay, a lot of these celebrities, man. Okay, they're doing things behind the scenes, man, in order to get fame, fortune. Okay, like the saying go, they have to succeed to succeed, right? You know what I'm saying? I ain't got to go into details, but you know, use your imagination. All right, okay, that's what they got to do in Hollywood, in Hollyweird. Okay, they have to get down with this man's. They have to be compromised, basically, in order to get the fortune and the fame. Who you had this guy Denzel, right? Denzel Washington. He just came out with the movie Gladiator 2, all right, where he admitted to kissing another man, all right, which he admitted that. And the thing about it, they were supposed to release that, but they cut that part out, okay, because they didn't want to basically put that image of Denzel out there like that. But he had no problem disclosing that, okay, because that's something that goes on in Hollywood. That's the norm, okay. You gotta be a freak. You gotta, you know what I'm saying? You gotta get down with their whole sodomite agenda, man. All right. Verse 26, it says, "For this cause the Most High gave them up unto vile affections," right? Something, inordinate affections, man. You know what I mean? Doing something that's an abominable act in the eyes of the Lord, man. Okay, you doing things behind the scene and shit, thinking that nobody sees you. The Lord sees you doing that, man. All you wicked niggas that take part in that type of lifestyle, man. All right, you're gonna be destroyed, man. So the Lord gave you over to that. All right, He gave you that perverse spirit to do that. All right, so also He could destroy you. It says, "For even their women, right, did change the natural use into that which is against nature." And here it is. A woman is supposed to be soft, supposed to be, beautiful, smelling good. You know what I'm saying? Smooth skin. Here it is. You got this chick. She basically wanted to be a man. You know what I'm saying? Growing her beard and shit. She got a thicker beard than mine, man. You know what I'm saying? That shit is crazy, man. Taking them hormone pills and shit and whatnot, man. Okay. So now she's playing the daddy role, right? What she's supposed to be, her natural order is to basically deal with a man, right? Have intercourse and produce children. Okay? But now she's the so-called man in the relationship. All right? She wanted to be a man, okay? So guess what? She changed the natural use. What does she create? What does she can't produce children. You could be a man all you want. You could have the features of a man and all that, but you cannot, get another woman pregnant. All right. And that's something that these these transformers, they learn to realize after, when it's all said and done. They got all that surgery and really know that they can't really do nothing. Okay. they cannot have a rod where they could penetrate and you know what I'm saying, and produce seed in a woman so they can have children. They come to realization. That's why they be all bugged out after when it's all said and done. They want to turn back into a woman. So that's that. That vile of, the vile affections that the Lord put upon you to make you feel that way, man, just so He could destroy you. Okay. And it says, verse 27, "And likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust one toward another, men with men, working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error, which was meat." All right. And, I ain't got to go into, the whole thing, with the men on men. Of course, that's straight up Moism. Okay. And that's abomination. You're supposed to be put to death for that. Okay. But in the eyes of Esau, that's being brave. That's you being strong for coming out the closet. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was growing up, they ain't have that. You know what I'm saying? Where you had those that were so-called, gay or whatever, sodomites, whatever, they would stay in the closet. They wouldn't, now in this society is accepted. You know what I'm saying? And if you're against it, then they'll call you homophobic. You're you're homophobic. You know what I'm saying? You're anti-gay, whatever, and they'll try to blackball you on certain things. Which is wicked, man. And their whole thing is to have you. They'll push it down your throat until you accept it. Okay, and you can thank the so-called white man for that. So let's go to real quick, because there's a judgment that's coming with that. This is the book of 2 Peter, chapter 2, verse 6, right? It says, "And turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemn them with an overthrow, making them an example unto those that after should live ungodly." Right. So Sodom and Gomorrah was that example. All right. The Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighboring cities with fire and with fire, right? You know what I'm saying? He destroyed it. Okay. And still to this day, if you go to that same region or that area, all right, you can still see the sulfur that's in that land. All right. Nothing can grow in that land. Okay. So how much more the judgment that's going to come upon America, spiritually Sodom. Okay. Okay. And the technology now is even more advanced. You got the women, you can't even tell. Okay. They have competitions where, they have it where you can't even tell if a woman, like, they can have a competition where they have a bunch of trannies and they'll say who's a man or who's not. You can't even tell the difference sometimes, man. That's why this society has to go. All right. It's to the point where, you can be easily deceived. Okay. You can be easily deceived. That's all I got to say. All right. Because you might see somebody you thinking is a woman the whole time. You know what I'm saying? You checking, her out, and then find out is a dude, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like, shit. That's vexing, man. All right. Being here in this society that you don't know who's who. You don't know, right? You just like, fuck. Okay. That's why this place has to go. All right. And for that prime example right there, that's why America has to be destroyed. It's an example given on to, from the time the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, how much more he's going to do to this place, man. Okay. He turned that place into a heap of rubble. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's still standing today, but America is not going to be standing. It's going to be destroyed. All right. No man is ever going to dwell there. It's going to be given onto the unclean spirits. All right. To dwell in, the unclean birds. Right. Because of his wickedness, man. Okay. But pretty much that was the point, man, because we're gonna see, man, and these people they're even more on a like, as far as the wickedness that was going on in Sodom and Sodom and Gomorrah. This place is even 10 times worse, man. All right, 1,000 times worse. Let's say that. And that's all for the purpose of the Lord to set judgment on this place, man. Okay, the Lord is fed up with this place, man. Seeing how this place is ran in wickedness. Okay, and the ones that are on top, the elites, the top elite bankers, the international bankers, man, that's their agenda, man, because they're a bunch of homos and sodomites themselves, man. All right. How can you have a society that's ran, if you're a heterosexual man, all right, how can you have a society to, where it's a bunch of moles and things like that? But if you say you want to be in a society where it's like, you could be married to multiple women, then that's a problem. They'll look at you like you're crazy. How you have multiple women? But here it is, you got 2 men, 2 women getting married is okay. All right. That's why this place has to go, man. But with that, I'm going to end it there. All praises due to YAHAWASHI. Till the next time I say Shalawam.